Kai had always felt small. On the crowded streets of New Arcadia, he moved like a shadow, unnoticed by anyone. The city's neon lights reflected off the wet pavement, washing everything in cold colors. But Kai barely noticed. He kept his head down, avoiding trouble, avoiding attention. The truth was, he felt powerless, like nothing he could do would ever matter. He didn't expect change. Change never came to people like him. But that evening, it did. The alleys behind the marketplace smelled of smoke and metal. Kai's boots echoed softly as he walked, his mind replaying the same thoughts he had every night. What if he could be more? What if he could be strong? But the questions always faded when he remembered his reality. Thin arms, quiet voice, invisible presence. A sudden noise made him stop. A sharp hiss, like the mechanical whine of a predator, came from the end of the alley. Kai froze. His heart pounded like a drum in his chest. Out of the darkness, a figure stepped forward. She was tall, her movements confident and precise, and her eyes glowed faintly under the neon lights. "You're Kai, right?" she asked. Her voice was calm, almost commanding. Kai nodded, unsure how she knew him. "I've been looking for you," she said. "You have something inside you, something I can teach you to control." Kai swallowed hard. "Me? Control? What?" She smiled faintly, a mix of patience and challenge. "Power. Strength. Courage. The kind that makes people stand up and notice you. You're not just a shadow, Kai. Not anymore." Kai wanted to laugh, but he didn't. Somehow, the conviction in her voice made him stop doubting. "Who are you?" "Call me Leora," she said, "and if you're ready, I can show you how to roar." Kai didn't understand, but something inside him stirred. He had spent his life small, ignored, powerless. The idea of becoming more was frightening, but exciting. He nodded, more to himself than to her. "Okay," he said. The first days were nothing like he expected. Leora didn't hand him weapons or gadgets. She didn't give him instructions that made sense at first. Instead, she made him run, climb, and jump through abandoned buildings, across rooftops, and through narrow ventilation shafts. She pushed him until his muscles burned, until his lungs ached, until he thought he couldn't take another step. "Stop thinking," she told him one evening as the city lights blurred beneath them. "You feel, you act. You roar from inside, not outside." Kai didn't know what that meant. He just followed. Slowly, he began to notice changes. His body grew stronger, his reflexes sharper. He could leap across spaces he once thought impossible. He moved with a new confidence, even when his voice barely rose above the wind. But strength was only part of it. Leora taught him to sense things beyond the ordinary, to read movement, to hear the subtle vibrations in the air, to see the faint traces of heat from a passing drone. Kai discovered that he could anticipate danger before it arrived. His small frame no longer seemed weak. It was quick, silent, deadly in its own way. One night, Leora took him to the edge of the city. They stood on a metal platform high above the neon glow, looking down at the streets filled with people oblivious to the shadows moving above them. "Do you feel it?" Leora asked. "The world thinks it knows you, but you're more than they imagine. You're human. You have something they don't. Adaptability, cunning, courage. They call us weak, but we are the strongest species in the galaxy. The galaxy doesn't notice us until we decide to make it notice us." Kai shivered, not from the cold wind, but from the truth in her words. I think I understand," he said. "But how do I roar?" Leora's eyes glinted with amusement. "By learning to trust yourself," By learning to push past fear, by realizing that power isn't just what you do, it's who you are. The following weeks were filled with training that tested every part of Kai: his mind, his body, his instincts. Leora introduced him to simulations, holographic predators that moved faster than anything in the real world. Kai learned to strike without hesitation, to defend without thinking. He learned patience, strategy, and above all, resilience. Then, one evening, Leora brought him to the outskirts of the city. A massive structure floated above the ground, pulsing with energy. A research station abandoned long ago, now inhabited by rogue drones. "Tonight you face your first real test," Leora said. "You'll enter alone. If you survive, you'll know you can roar." Kai's heart raced, but he remembered every lesson. He remembered Leora's words. "You act. You feel. You roar from inside." He nodded. The doors of the station opened, creaking loudly. Inside, the air was thick with electricity and the faint smell of burned circuits. Drones patrolled the hallways, their sensors glowing red. Kai stayed low, moving silently, every step calculated. He dodged their patrols, observed their patterns, and struck only when necessary. He didn't know how long he had been inside before he reached the central chamber. There, a massive drone waited, taller than any human, armed with spinning energy blades. It moved with unnatural precision. Kai's first instinct was fear. His chest tightened. But he remembered Leora's words again. He stood tall. He felt his heart pounding, the energy in his veins. He didn't just move. He flowed. He anticipated the drone's movements, ducked, leaped, and struck. For the first time, Kai realized what Leora had meant. His actions weren't just reactions. They were a force of will. He roared with his movements, silent but powerful. The battle ended with the drone collapsing in a shower of sparks. Kai stood in the center of the chamber, breathing hard. He felt alive in a way he never had before. Leora appeared behind him, clapping once, sharply. "You did it," she said. "You didn't just survive. You conquered. That was your roar, Kai. That was proof that you are more than anyone ever expected." Kai looked around, feeling the surge of pride and power in his chest. He had changed. The boy who walked the streets unnoticed was gone. In his place stood someone who could face danger, who could fight, who could rise above fear. As he left the station with Leora, the city below glittering like stars, he realized something even deeper. Roaring wasn't about noise or aggression. It was about existence. It was about embracing the potential inside him and daring the universe to challenge him. For the first time in his life, Kai smiled, feeling the warmth of confidence and purpose spread through him. He didn't just want to survive anymore. He wanted to shape the world, to leave a mark, to show humanity's strength in ways that no one had dared to imagine. And somewhere deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Kai had thought surviving the rogue drones in the abandoned research station was the hardest part. He had been wrong. The city of New Arcadia sparkled beneath him as he followed Leora back through the streets, but the glow of the neon lights no longer seemed welcoming. Something had shifted in the air, a tension he couldn't yet name. Kai could feel it in his bones, in the way the shadows moved slightly too quickly, in the faint hum of energy running beneath the city. "New Arcadia isn't safe anymore," Leora said quietly, as if reading his thoughts. "There are forces at work that will test you far beyond anything we've done so far." Kai glanced at her, trying to gauge her seriousness. "What kind of forces?" "Not just drones," Leora replied. "Not just rogue machines. There are people, humans, who fear what we are becoming. They think we are too strong, too clever. And they are willing to stop us." Kai's stomach tightened. He had imagined enemies, sure, but human ones? Something about that felt more real, more dangerous. Machines could be predicted. people could not. Over the next days, Kai's training shifted. Leora taught him not only to fight, but to think, to strategize. They scouted abandoned districts, studied movement patterns, and mapped the hidden corners of the city. Kai learned to anticipate ambushes, to read the intent behind a glance or a subtle gesture. Every day, Leora reminded him that survival wasn't enough. He had to dominate the environment, to make the world bend to his awareness. One evening, as the sky turned dark violet and the neon reflected on the rain-slick streets, Leora led Kai to a hidden chamber beneath the city. The walls hummed faintly with stored energy, and holographic maps projected across the room. "This is the human network," Leora explained, "a secret group that monitors threats. They know about you, Kai. They know about what we're building here. And some of them, they don't like it." Kai studied the holograms. Names, faces, and locations flickered in rapid succession. Most were faceless to him, but a few made him pause. Each had an aura of power, skill, and authority. "They want to stop us?" he asked. "They want to control us, or destroy us," Leora said. "And the only way to survive them is to be faster, stronger, smarter than they can imagine. You're ready for it, Kai? But remember, strength without strategy is useless." The first encounter came sooner than expected. A week later, while scouting a warehouse district near the edge of the city, Kai noticed movement, figures moving in precise formation, shadows blending with shadows. He gestured to Leora, but she had already vanished, leaving him alone to face the approaching threat. A dozen humans stepped from the darkness. They were clad in black tactical suits, their eyes sharp and calculating. Weapons glinted in the dim light. Kai's heart pounded, but he forced himself to remember Leora's lessons. Act, don't think. Feel, roar from inside. He leaped into the shadows, moving silently, using the environment to his advantage. He dropped behind crates, climbed walls, and launched sudden strikes when the enemy least expected it. Each move was precise, calculated, but instinctual. Kai felt the thrill of being alive, of using his body and mind in perfect harmony. The humans were skilled, far more than ordinary street fighters, but Kai had something they didn't: instinct. He read their patterns, predicted their actions, and countered with agility and power. One by one they fell back, injured but not defeated. Kai realized they weren't just here to fight. They were testing him. As he paused, catching his breath behind a broken wall, Leora emerged from the shadows, calm as ever. "You see, Kai," she said, "they can train for years, but if they can't think like us, they will always be one step behind. Humanity thrives not because of technology alone, but because of the mind, the will, the courage to adapt." Kai nodded, feeling pride swell within him. But pride was short-lived. The skirmish had drawn attention. Distant sirens wailed. The city's security systems were activating, drones scanning the area. Kai realized that staying here meant facing more enemies, and that the network of people and machines that opposed them was larger than they had imagined. Leora led him to the rooftops, moving silently across the rain-slicked tiles. "We need to relocate," she said. "Tonight you learned, tomorrow we plan. And soon you will face your greatest challenge yet." The next day, they traveled to a hidden training ground outside the city limits. It was a wide-open area filled with obstacles, simulated enemies, and advanced training systems. Kai noticed that the sky seemed different here, clear, open, almost limitless. Leora smiled at his expression. "This is where you will learn to master not just your body and mind, but the very environment itself," she said. "You will become the predator, the protector, the one who shapes the world around you." Kai threw himself into the training with new intensity. Leora introduced him to combat simulations that mimicked entire squads of enemies, environmental hazards, and unexpected attacks. Kai learned to adapt to every situation. Whether it was a collapsing platform, an energy surge, or a sudden ambush, every trial forced him to grow smarter, faster, and stronger. During one particularly grueling session, Kai faced a simulation designed to overwhelm him. Dozens of holographic enemies closed in from all directions, their weapons firing, their movements unpredictable. For the first time, Kai felt panic rise in him. But then he remembered Leora's words. Roar from inside. He stopped moving for a moment, letting his senses take over. He could feel the space around him, the flow of the enemies, the rhythm of their attacks. Then he acted, not with fear, but with certainty. He moved like a shadow, striking precisely, dodging with grace, turning the attack back on the simulation itself. When the last enemy flickered out of existence, Kai collapsed to the ground, breathing hard, feeling alive in a way he never had before. Leora knelt beside him. "That was perfect," she said. "Not because you won, but because you controlled yourself." Power without control is chaos. Control without courage is nothing. Tonight, you learned to combine them both. Kai's confidence grew, but so did his awareness of danger. He knew that the network hunting them would not wait forever. They would strike when he least expected it, and yet he also knew something else. He could handle it. Humanity had survived impossible odds before. He could survive this. He could thrive. As night fell, they returned to New Arcadia. Kai's mind raced with possibilities. The city that once made him feel small now seemed full of opportunity, full of challenges to overcome. He could feel his instincts sharpening, his reflexes honed, and his mind calculating the unknown risks ahead. But just as he was beginning to feel comfortable with his new strength, a message arrived. It wasn't digital. It wasn't sent through conventional means. A small metallic device clattered onto the rooftop where they had landed. Kai picked it up cautiously. The device projected a hologram. A man appeared, tall, stern, with piercing eyes and a cold smile. "Kai," the man said, "you are not ready for what is coming. Your training is impressive, but it will not save you. The human network knows what you are capable of, and they will stop at nothing to control you. Or destroy you." Kai felt a chill run down his spine. He looked at Leora, who nodded slightly, her expression serious. "This is the moment you've been preparing for," she said. "Your next step will define not just your strength, but your purpose. Remember who you are, and why you roar." Kai clenched his fists, feeling determination harden inside him. Fear was still there, but it no longer controlled him. He had survived drones, outsmarted enemies, and mastered parts of himself he never knew existed. Now he would face humans who underestimated him, and show them the true power of someone who refuses to stay small. That night, as the city slept beneath them, Kai allowed himself a small smile. The real test was coming, and for the first time, he wasn't afraid. He was ready to roar. Kai stood on the rooftop, the cool wind whipping past him, the city lights of New Arcadia stretching endlessly below. He could feel the tension in the air, the silent warning of the human network. Every instinct told him danger was near. He had trained for this moment. Every leap, every strike, every calculated move had led to now. Yet, despite all his preparation, his heart still beat faster. "Are you ready?" Leora asked, her voice calm but firm. She had always been calm, always composed, and yet Kai knew she could be lethal if needed. He nodded. "I'm ready," he said. Leora's eyes scanned the horizon. "Then we move. Stealth first, then precision. Remember, their strength lies in numbers, not in creativity. Outthink them, outmove them, and you will win." Kai followed her as they dropped silently from the rooftop onto a lower platform. The streets below were empty, but he knew the network's agents could be anywhere. Shadows moved where shadows shouldn't exist, and he could sense the subtle vibrations of energy weapons hidden just out of sight. They entered a narrow alleyway that led to the heart of the industrial district. Kai's muscles were tense, his senses alert. Every step was careful, measured. He remembered the drone simulations, the physical training, the rooftop maneuvers. Each lesson blended into instinct. He didn't just move, he flowed. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught his eye. A figure darted across the alley, disappearing behind a stack of crates. Kai signaled to Leora, and they split silently, flanking the unknown intruder. The figure turned, and for a brief moment, Kai saw a human face, focused, ready, and armed. Before he could react, the figure launched a small device into the air. A bright pulse erupted, temporarily blinding him. Kai felt his stomach drop as he stumbled, but quickly regained balance. He had learned to adapt under pressure. He leaped toward the attacker, striking decisively. The intruder dropped, immobilized but unharmed, a small tracker on their wrist, sparking weakly. Kai examined it carefully. "They know we're coming," he said. "Yes," Leora replied, appearing beside him. "And now they will accelerate their plans. We must move faster than they expect." They continued toward the industrial district's center, a massive complex of factories and warehouses long abandoned by civilians. The network's presence was strong here. Kai could sense multiple agents coordinating silently, drones patrolling rooftops, and security systems flickering to life as they approached. "Keep your focus," Leora warned. "They will try to overwhelm you. Remember, strength is nothing without strategy." Kai's mind raced as they navigated the labyrinth of buildings. He noticed small patterns, the way drones paused before turning corners, the faint sound of servos indicating a nearby agent, the subtle shifts in lighting that marked surveillance points. Every detail fed his planning. They reached the central warehouse, a massive structure surrounded by metal fences and guard towers. Leora pointed toward a side entrance. "We go in here. Quiet, fast, and precise. You lead. Use what you've learned." Kai nodded. He took a deep breath, feeling the power and skill coursing through him. He moved forward silently, blending with the shadows. He could hear the agents inside talking softly, coordinating patrols. He memorized their positions, planning the most efficient path to the main control room. Inside, the warehouse was vast, filled with crates, machinery, and the faint hum of energy. Kai's first instinct was to climb, to gain a vantage point. He leaped onto a stack of crates, silently moving above the agent's line of sight. From there, he could see the entire layout. He counted 10 agents patrolling, 2 drones scanning, and a series of energy locks guarding the control room door. Kai crouched, calculating his next move. He had learned patience, observation, and precision. He decided to create a diversion. He tossed a small metal cylinder across the floor. It rolled, clattering loudly. Instantly, several agents turned toward the sound. Seizing the opportunity, Kai dropped silently behind another patrol and disabled them quickly, using pressure points and his enhanced reflexes. He moved like a shadow, unseen, untouchable. Each strike was precise, each movement deliberate. Within minutes, he had cleared a path to the main control room. Inside, the room was filled with holographic displays and communication devices. Agents were busy coordinating reinforcements. Kai noticed a figure in the corner. Tall, commanding, eyes sharp. The leader of this operation. He felt a chill run through him, but didn't hesitate. This was the moment he had trained for. He moved swiftly, disabling guards along the way, approaching the leader. The man turned, startled. But Kai was faster. He dodged a strike, countered with a precise move, and disarmed the leader without harming him seriously. "You're fast," the man said, panting, "but you won't stop the network." "We will rebuild. We will adapt. Humans like you, like your mentor, will never dominate us." Kai looked him in the eye, steady and unwavering. "We don't seek to dominate," he said. "We seek to survive, to grow, to prove that humanity is more than fear. You underestimate what people can achieve when they refuse to stay small." The leader sneered but didn't attack further. Kai moved to the central console, scanning for information. He found plans, maps, and lists of agents. Every bit of knowledge was a tool, and Kai knew how to use it. With Leora's guidance, he initiated a hack, feeding false data into the network's systems, causing confusion and delaying reinforcements. As they prepared to leave, alarms blared. Reinforcements were arriving faster than anticipated. Kai felt a surge of adrenaline, but also clarity. He and Leora moved as one, covering each other, striking when necessary, retreating when smart. Their movements were synchronized, refined through weeks of training. They reached the rooftop exit, but the network had anticipated their escape. A squad of agents blocked the path, weapons ready, eyes sharp. Kai felt a brief moment of panic, but he remembered everything Leora had taught him. He didn't hesitate. He leaped, flipping over the first agent, striking two more with precise blows, and rolled across the rooftop to safety. Leora followed, her movements just as fluid, just as deadly. They ran across rooftops, dodging drones and gunfire, until they reached the edge of the city. Kai paused, looking back at New Arcadia. The city that once made him feel small now held the evidence of his growth. He had faced humans who thought they could control or destroy him. He had survived, adapted, and thrived. "You did well," Leora said, standing beside him. "Not perfect, but well. The human network will return, stronger and more prepared. But so will we, and next time we will not just survive. We will teach them why humans are unstoppable." Kai nodded, feeling a sense of pride unlike anything he had experienced before. He had learned to roar, not just as a show of strength, but as a statement of existence, intelligence, and adaptability. Humanity had faced countless challenges, and now he was a living testament to their resilience and ingenuity. As night settled over the city, Kai realized something deeper. The real power of humans wasn't technology, strategy, or physical ability alone. It was creativity, courage, and the refusal to be limited by fear. He had seen it in himself, in Leora, and now he would show it to the world. The rooftop was quiet, the neon lights reflecting off the wet surfaces, the city asleep but alive. Kai breathed deeply, feeling the wind, the energy, the life around him. He knew the network would strike again, that challenges would come, but for the first time, he didn't feel small or powerless. He felt capable, prepared, and ready to lead. Leora placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've taken the first real step, Kai. But remember, roaring is not just about power. It's about vision, intelligence, and heart. You will need all three in the battles to come." Kai looked at her, determination blazing in his eyes. "I'm ready," he said. And he truly was. The city below was vast, full of unseen challenges. But Kai no longer feared the unknown. He had found his strength, honed his mind, and learned to adapt. Humanity's potential was limitless, and he was living proof. As the first light of dawn broke over New Arcadia, painting the city in hues of gold and violet, Kai felt the roar inside him grow stronger. It was not a sound that could be heard by others. It was a force, a statement, a life lived fully and without fear. He had learned to roar, and this was only the beginning. The first rays of morning painted New Arcadia in soft gold, but the city below seemed tense, almost alive with anticipation. Kai stood at the edge of a rooftop, looking out over the streets where shadows and light danced together. He could feel it. Today would not be like the others. Today the human network would make their move, and he would face the final challenge of his training and growth. Leora appeared beside him, her face calm, her eyes sharp. "This is it, Kai. Everything we've prepared for comes to an end today. But remember, strength alone won't win this. You need vision, courage, and trust in yourself." Kai nodded. He had trained for months, survived drones, outsmarted agents, and faced the network's tests, but the thought of the ultimate confrontation still sent a ripple of tension through him. He drew in a deep breath, feeling the wind against his face, the city alive beneath him, and the roar inside him growing stronger. They moved through the city silently, shadows among shadows, toward the network's central command. The building was massive, sleek, and fortified, a stronghold of human determination against anything they didn't understand. Kai noticed guards on every corner, drones patrolling above, sensors scanning relentlessly. This was a fortress, and they would need more than brute strength to succeed. "Remember what we've practiced," Leora whispered. "Patience, observation, precision. Lead with your mind, then your instincts will follow." Kai felt a surge of confidence. He led the way, scaling walls, leaping across rooftops, and using the narrow alleyways to avoid detection. Every move was deliberate. Every sense was alert. They approached a side entrance that appeared less guarded. Kai crouched, examining the pattern of the patrols. He saw a brief window of opportunity, a moment where the guard's attention would shift, and acted without hesitation. They slipped inside, moving through dimly lit corridors, filled with humming machinery and digital panels. The air was charged, as if the building itself knew intruders had entered. Kai could feel the presence of the network agents, their training and coordination almost palpable. But he didn't panic. He had learned to adapt, to flow with the environment, to anticipate danger before it arrived. Suddenly, a group of agents appeared around a corner, weapons raised. Kai froze only briefly, then remembered Leora's lessons. He moved with precision, striking first and disabling the nearest enemies without harming them permanently. Leora followed closely, covering his back, her movements fluid and exact. Together they moved like a single unit, unstoppable and silent. They reached a central chamber, a massive room filled with consoles and holographic displays. In the center stood the network's leader, the same man Kai had encountered before, but now surrounded by dozens of elite agents. He smiled coldly. "You've done well to come this far, Kai," he said. "But this is the end. You cannot defeat us all. Humanity cannot be allowed to rise unchecked. You will submit, or you will be erased." Kai stepped forward, feeling the power within him. He could hear the faint hum of energy weapons, see the precise positioning of every agent, and feel the rhythm of the battle before it even began. "We're not here to fight blindly," he said. "We're here to show what humans can achieve when they refuse to be limited by fear. We adapt, we overcome, we survive, and we grow stronger with every challenge." The leader laughed, a sharp, cold sound. "Empty words. You're still just one boy, and your mentor can only do so much." Kai's eyes narrowed. He felt the roar inside him, not as a sound, but as a force of will, clarity, and courage. He didn't attack recklessly. Instead, he analyzed, planned, and moved. He struck at weak points, disabled systems, and used the environment to his advantage. Leora supported him, taking down threats with equal precision. The battle unfolded like a dance of shadows and light. Agents moved with skill, but Kai anticipated, countered, and adapted. He used their coordination against them, leading them into traps and misdirections. The network's confidence began to waver as they realized they were being outsmarted. Kai reached the leader, blocking a strike and forcing the man to retreat. "This is not just about fighting," Kai said. "It's about proving potential, about showing that humans can rise above limits, above fear, above control." The leader's expression faltered for the first time. You are stronger than I expected," he admitted, though his pride still held him back. But even strength like yours has limits. Kai smiled faintly. Strength isn't just muscles or weapons. It's mind, heart, and courage combined. It's persistence when others give up, and it's the will to adapt, to survive, and to lead. Using the moment of hesitation, Kai triggered the consoles, feeding false commands and disabling key security systems. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the network's coordination broke down. Agents were confused, some fleeing, others unsure of where to strike. Kai and Leora moved with precision, clearing the room of threats without unnecessary violence. Finally, only the leader remained. He stood in the center, breathing heavily, his eyes calculating. "You've survived," he said. "But the network will not be undone. We are humanity too, and we will endure." Kai stepped closer, his posture calm and resolute. "Yes," he said, "you are humanity, but so are we. Humans survive not by fear, not by control, but by courage, intelligence, and the refusal to remain small. Today you see what we can achieve." The leader nodded, slowly, a faint respect in his eyes. He lowered his stance, acknowledging defeat without words. "Perhaps there is more to humans than I realized," he said. "Perhaps you are right." Kai turned to Leora. "We've done it," he said softly. "Not just for us, but for everyone who thought humans were limited. Today, we proved them wrong." Leora smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You've grown beyond anything I could have imagined. The roar inside you, it's not just power. It's vision, courage, and hope. You've embraced the true potential of humanity." Kai looked out over the city. The sunrise had brightened, painting New Arcadia in shades of gold and pink. The streets were still, unaware of the battle that had unfolded above them. Kai realized that the city, the world, even the galaxy had potential waiting to be unlocked. Not through domination or fear, but through courage, intelligence, and adaptability. He felt the power within him, steady and strong. It was not a roar that others could hear, but a force that could shape outcomes, inspire courage, and ignite change. He had learned to harness it, to control it, and to use it wisely.
"Are we safe now?" Kai asked, though he already knew the answer. Danger would always exist.
Challenges would always come. But for the first time, he felt ready. "As safe as we can be," Leora replied. "The network will recover, but now they know the truth. Humanity is stronger than they ever imagined. And so are you." Kai nodded. He thought of everything he had learned. The strength in his body, the sharpness in his mind, the courage in his heart. He thought of the obstacles, the battles, and the moments of doubt he had overcome. And he realized something profound. Humanity was more than machines, more than strategies, more than fear. Humanity was the will to adapt, to endure, and to grow stronger with every challenge. He turned back to the city, feeling the pulse of life below, the energy of countless people moving, dreaming, and striving. He understood that his journey was just one part of a much larger story. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they would continue to do so. And he had proven that even in the face of overwhelming opposition, one person, or one group with vision and courage, could make a difference. Kai breathed deeply, feeling the wind, the light, the life around him. He had found his roar, and it was more than just a sound. It was purpose, potential, and the enduring strength of humanity itself. As he walked alongside Leora, leaving the stronghold behind, he knew the future was uncertain, but he also knew this: humans would continue to rise. They would continue to adapt, to innovate, and to thrive. And he would be there, leading the way, a living testament to what could be achieved when fear was replaced by courage, and doubt by action. The city stretched endlessly before them, full of challenges yet unseen. Kai smiled, feeling the quiet strength within him. Humanity had never been small, weak, or powerless. It had simply needed someone to remember how to roar, and now he had. Kai walked through the streets of New Arcadia, the city now quieter than he had ever known. The human network's presence had been diminished, but their influence was still felt in subtle ways. Security patrols were more cautious. Surveillance drones still glided overhead, and citizens moved with a mixture of curiosity and hesitation when they noticed unusual activity above the rooftops. For Kai, though, everything had changed. He had gone from a small, overlooked boy to someone who could move with precision, think with clarity, and inspire others. Yet, he also understood that this power was not just his own. It was humanity's. Every lesson Leora had taught him, every challenge he had faced, had prepared him not only to survive, but to guide others. Leora joined him as they walked through the city's quieter districts. The early morning mist clung to the buildings and the air smelled faintly of metal and rain. "The city has changed," Kai said, almost to himself. "But it feels uncertain." "It always will," Leora replied. "Power brings responsibility. The network isn't gone, they're regrouping. But what you've done has shifted the balance. Humanity has seen what it can achieve when it refuses to stay small." Kai nodded. The thought of responsibility weighed heavily on him, but he also felt excitement. He knew that the future would require more than fighting. It would require leadership, vision, and intelligence. He had been given the chance to test himself, and now he had the chance to help shape the world. Their first task came sooner than expected. Reports of rogue agents trying to regroup had reached Leora through her communications network. The agents were attempting to sabotage critical infrastructure, hoping to regain control and challenge humanity's growth. Kai didn't hesitate. He moved to intercept them, Leora at his side. As they approached the industrial sector where the agents were active, Kai's mind raced through strategies. He had learned that overwhelming force was unnecessary. Precision, adaptability, and foresight were far more effective. They arrived at the scene to find a small team of agents attempting to hack into the city's energy grid. Drones hovered nearby, scanning for intruders. Kai signaled to Leora, and together they advanced cautiously, using shadows and cover to their advantage. Kai observed patterns in the agents' movements, noticing subtle signs, where they looked, how they gestured, and how the drones shifted their scanning patterns. He devised a plan in an instant. Using small, harmless devices, he created distractions to mislead the agents, drawing them away from the grid. Leora disabled the drones with precise maneuvers, allowing Kai to reach the core systems without detection. Once at the control panel, Kai worked quickly, securing the energy grid and rerouting the hack attempts. The agents realized too late that their efforts were failing. Kai and Leora moved silently, disabling them without unnecessary violence. The confrontation ended in minutes, a demonstration of intelligence, precision, and restraint. Afterward, Kai looked at Leora. "It feels different now," he said. "It's not just about survival or proving myself. It's about responsibility, helping humans reach their potential without causing unnecessary harm." Leora smiled.
"That is the true roar, Kai."
"Not just strength, but wisdom and purpose. You've learned to act with power and reason combined. That is what humans need to grow." In the days that followed, Kai began to implement new systems in the city. Using the knowledge gained from the network's plans, he helped design training programs for young humans, teaching them to enhance their instincts, minds, and bodies without relying solely on technology. He shared lessons in strategy, observation, and adaptability, emphasizing that true power came from intelligence and courage rather than fear or control. The city began to respond. Individuals who had once felt powerless discovered skills they didn't know they had. People moved with new confidence, approached challenges with creativity, and learned to work together in ways that maximized their collective strength. The human network, though weakened, observed from afar, realizing that they could not control a population that had embraced growth and independence. Kai's reputation grew, but he did not seek recognition. He focused on fostering potential, guiding humanity toward resilience and innovation. Leora remained at his side, a mentor and friend, helping him navigate challenges and ensuring he didn't become overconfident. One evening, as the city lights flickered on and the sky turned a deep violet, Kai stood atop a high tower, looking out over the bustling streets below. He felt the same roar inside him that had driven him through countless battles, but now it was tempered with understanding and purpose. It was no longer just about proving strength. It was about guiding growth, inspiring courage, and helping humans realize what they could achieve. Leora approached quietly. "You've changed more than anyone could have expected," she said. "The city, humanity, it's stronger because of you. But remember, challenges will always come. The key is not to fear them, but to face them with clarity and courage." Kai nodded. "I understand. Every test, every battle. It wasn't just about me. It was about showing what humans can do when they refuse to stay small."
"Exactly," Leora said.
"And now you lead by example. Your roar isn't heard, it's felt. It inspires others to find their own strength, their own courage, and their own potential." Kai smiled faintly. He thought of the countless times he had felt small, overlooked, and powerless. He had once believed he was invisible, insignificant. Now he saw the impact of action guided by courage and intelligence. He had faced enemies, overcome impossible odds, and learned that humanity's true strength was its adaptability, creativity, and heart. In the weeks that followed, Kai continued to expand his influence. He traveled to distant districts, helping communities organize, teaching them strategies for resilience, and demonstrating that growth came from collaboration as much as from individual skill. His actions inspired countless others to pursue improvement, not for fame or dominance, but for the sake of human potential. Even the remnants of the human network began to change. Observing Kai's methods, they realized that true control was impossible. Humans could not be restricted by fear or suppression. They would innovate, adapt, and thrive, regardless. Some began to join Kai's cause, offering their skills and knowledge to strengthen humanity instead of opposing it. Kai understood that this was the essence of HFY, humanity thriving through ingenuity, courage, and cooperation. The battles he had fought were not just about survival. They were about proving that humans could rise above limitations, learn from adversity, and inspire growth in others. One quiet evening, as Kai and Leora rested atop a rooftop, he reflected on how far he had come. The boy who once walked unnoticed through neon-lit streets had become a symbol of possibility. He had faced mechanical predators, human adversaries, and his own fears. He had learned to roar not as a shout of aggression, but as a statement of capability, intelligence, and purpose. "You've done more than I ever expected," Leora said softly. "But this is only the beginning. Humanity will face new challenges, new threats, and new opportunities. You've shown them the path, but the journey continues." Kai looked out over the city, the lights reflecting in his eyes. "I know," he said.
"And we'll face them. We've learned that humans are stronger than they think."
That strength isn't just physical. It's mind, heart, and will combined. And as long as we remember that, there is nothing we cannot overcome. A breeze swept past them, carrying the scent of rain and metal, the sound of distant machinery, and the quiet hum of life continuing below. Kai felt the roar inside him once more, steady, unwavering, and full of purpose. It was no longer the uncertain roar of a boy testing himself. It was the confident, controlled force of someone who had faced the world, proven himself, and embraced humanity's potential. In that moment, Kai realized something profound. The true measure of strength was not in defeating enemies or surviving challenges. It was in inspiring others, fostering growth, and showing that humans could rise above limits imposed by fear, doubt, or circumstance. His roar was a beacon, a reminder that humanity could thrive, adapt, and achieve greatness. As the night deepened and the city pulsed with life, Kai stood tall beside Leora. Together they looked out over New Arcadia, a city alive with potential, ready for the future. Challenges would come, of course, they always did, but humanity had learned to face them with courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Kai smiled. For the first time in his life, he truly understood what it meant to roar. It wasn't loud, it wasn't violent. It was a force felt through action, inspiration, and the unshakable will to grow stronger. And with that force, he would continue to guide humanity toward a future full of possibility. Proof that humans were never small, never powerless, and never to be underestimated. The city stretched before him, vast and alive, full of challenges yet unseen. Kai's journey had begun as a single boy seeking strength, but it had grown into something far greater. A testament to humanity itself, to the courage, intelligence, and potential that lay within every person willing to rise above fear and doubt. Kai took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the city around him. He could hear the silent heartbeat of humanity, the pulse of those striving, learning, and daring to grow. The roar inside him resonated with theirs, a quiet but powerful affirmation that humans could achieve greatness when they refused to remain small. And in that moment, Kai knew the truth he had always sought. Humanity's strength was limitless, and he had found his place as a guide, a protector, and a living symbol of their potential. He had learned to roar. And now the world would listen, not with ears, but with understanding, courage, and the unstoppable force of human will.